Let me find out more about the water testing. So there is the E. coli, the bacteria count,
Yes.
but before the swim, there also was testing for algae. Tell us a bit more
Yes.
about algae.
Yes, so we are testing every day for the E. coli, but and that has been the sort of main indicator of whether the water is swimmable in terms of the state standards. There is another concern, and that is something called cyanobacteria. It's also known as blue-green algae, and particularly during summer months when water temperatures get warm and when there is a lot of there are a lot of nutrients entering the river through things like phosphorus and nitrogen, which come from fertilizers that people might use on their lawns, or actually come from car emissions as well. Those things can build up in the river and lead to a cyanobacteria bloom. And the state also has some standards for that as well. And that is if the cyanobacteria counts are above 70,000 cells per sample, then they would not allow swimming. So on Thursday before the swim race, samples were taken and analyzed, and they were well under that 70,000 limit. So that
would be fine.
That was good. And we were concerned because it had been so warm. We were having that heat wave through the first week and a half of July. So it was good to see that we hadn't exceeded those levels.
Yeah, and obviously it's not just what happens down at the Parklands in the urban area, but also what happens upriver. And there is currently an effort by EPA to improve the water quality further upriver.
Yes.
Do you want to speak a little bit about that?
Yes, EPA is working to implement in 3 communities up in the upper watershed an effort to reduce the impacts of stormwater runoff on existing development. So commercial buildings or large parking lots or municipal lands that are over 2 acres in size will need to retrofit their properties so that they capture the stormwater when it rains.
So they would capture it in swales
Or catch basins, and try. The goal is to get the water that would fall on the parking lot or the rooftop to go back into the ground, not to go into a storm drain and straight into a river. So there are different ways of doing that, and one way would be to direct that rainfall through vegetation. So they might put in a swale or a rain garden, and that would capture the water, it would slow it down as it seeps in, the vegetation can filter out some of the pollutants that are on that surface.
Yeah.
So that they're doing this test case up in the upper watershed in 3 communities, and we'll hopefully bring that farther and farther downstream.
That's a great, and there's a wonderful example of that recently happened on Everett Street in Allston, where they created a way for the street water to go into a swale. So if you are in that neighborhood, it's near the German school, a small demonstration project, but if that's implemented everywhere, it can have a huge impact. It's a really innovative approach done by CRWA, by the Allston Brighton CDC, and I think the City of Boston. So a lot of partners have contributed to that.
Yes, and that's known as low impact development, and that can be done with a new development. It's much easier to do when you're just building something, but again, in an area such as ours where there's so much pavement already and roadways and buildings, it's important that we start looking at retrofitting as well, and that's what that project is.
Yeah. So let's look at the actual testing that happened on the docks here.
Sure.
Tell us what you see here.
This was our first day of testing, and we started on June 14th, and the testing will run through August 13th, which is roughly the swim season. Some places go into early September, but this will give us 2 months worth of data. And pictured here are Chris Husky, who works for the Massachusetts Department of Public Health, and Xiaodan Ruan, who is a graduate student at Northeastern. And they are preparing the bottles for sample. So those bottles will then be dipped into the water, and they're sterile to make sure there's no bacteria already in there. So they're dipped into the water and sealed shut. And Xiaodan keeps them on ice as she bikes around the lower basin, especially with these hot days. It's very important to keep them cold. And she gets them back to the lab in Northeastern and prepares them for. They have to incubate for 24 hours, so she won't know until the next day what the counts are. But so this is just getting started.
Now, at certain locations, the testing happens every hour. Describe that to us.
Yes, so right now, Northeastern is fortunate to have some teachers doing some professional development with them this summer, high school science teachers, and so they have some extra person power. So they have deployed something called an ISCO sampling unit. The ISCO is the maker of and it's automated. And inside this large barrel are 24 bottles. In each hour, there's a little computer that's programmed, and it sucks in a sample from the river, puts it into a bottle, and then the next hour, this little thing inside the barrel turns, and it sucks in another sample. And we keep ice in the barrel to keep the samples cold. So when Shaodan is there taking her daily sample, she picks up these additional 24 bottles, brings them back to the lab, and puts them through the same procedures. And what that allows us to do is see how quickly the water quality reacts to something like a large rainstorm. Does it change within an hour of the rain starting, or is it within 3 hours that the bacteria levels might climb? So we're doing that at MIT. We hope to move this unit to each of the 5 locations over the course of the summer for about a week each.
And also I think what might impact the quality of the water is whether the locks at the dock at the locks are open at the dam.
Yes.
So that might also influence the water quality. So
yes.
Now we also have a picture here. I think this is the reporter and the sound engineer of BUR who are trying to capture the sound of water testing.
Yes, which is, you would think, fairly quiet, but yes, this was just yesterday at on the Esplanade, the river dock, and Shaodan was getting her last sample of the day, and WBUR was following up on and, listening in on that.
And you have the results here of the big rainstorm on the right here.
Yes, so this chart shows our first 2 weeks worth of data. So the pink line shows the state standard of 235.
Swimmable.
Yeah, it's a state swimming standard. So for the most part, we've been well under that, save for Sunday and Monday of this week. So we had the big rainfall on Saturday, and the bacteria levels did go above what was considered swimmable, and that is exactly why the race had to be postponed. It would not have been safe for our swimmers to be in the water.
But it's rescheduled for the 25th of July.
Yep.
And so that's very exciting.
Yes, it is. Yep.
And I'll definitely be there to cheer you on.
Yes,
and I know there'll be a lot of other people to cheer you on.
Yes.
So that's very
It gave
exciting.
me 2 more weeks to train, so it's not such a bad thing.
Wonderful. Well, we've been talking about swimming in the Charles, but there are a lot of other things you can already do along the Charles, even if you haven't signed up for the swim or you are not quite ready to do that. You can, for instance, do Sunday games. Every Sunday afternoon between 2 and 5 are games between the Weeks Bridge and the Welt Boathouse for any age. There are all kind of equipment is there that just is right for children and adults. And then at 5 o'clock in the shade of the trees near the Weeks Bridge is going to be yoga. So all kind of wonderful things happening all summer along the Charles. And if you have questions about the work of the Swimmable Charles or Karen, you can contact her. And I want to thank you, Karen, for coming today.
Thank you.
And good luck on Sunday.
Thank you very much.